you see stuff very visually, vividly. Is it like all the time? Like right now, if you're not focused on right here, you'll start seeing visual shit beyond what normal people will see? Or do you have to like focus on it on purpose? How's that work?
I have trained myself currently that if I want to shift and have the clear visuals of any space and realm, it's more of a focus. I've learned to tune into this physical world more and act like normal people, because when you're just walking in the street and your frequency is all over the place and you just, there's a normal street, like think of LA or New York or something, and all of a sudden half of it turns into a jungle, and you're like, "Am I going nuts or what?" Yeah, I've tried to sort of like, okay, when I'm home, when I can focus on something, I can turn on the button and allow myself to open up visuals if I choose to. So basically, yeah, it's pretty vivid if I choose to focus on it.
Oh, great. Now, do those visuals always come with the feeling like you see it and you can just reach out with your second body, energy by astral body, whatever, but you can just reach out and touch it and feel that stuff too?
Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. That's that's amazing. Okay, that's all I wanted to ask about
Opened up this massive subject and just stopped in the middle.
no, no. Okay, okay. Let me. Okay, let me ask you another one. Like, let's say, let's not. I'm not going to ask you about me. Like, and you can see what's going on around me. You're going to be, oh yeah, you're all fucked up. No,
Yeah.
no, oh, duh. No, no, but no, no. But if when we have a client,
They're all
do
fucked
you?
up too.
I know, right? There's all places all fucked up. uh, Now, with a client, do you see their stuff instantly and immediately, or does it help when they start talking about it and sharing their story? How does that work?
um, any person, any person that I can encounter in my day-to-day life, I can tune into, I can access their stuff, but I have trained myself to make it more of a focus because it's just been too much where, this social anxiety and people being too much, it was too hard. Going out in any public space where there are many people, uh, feeling massively exhausted and just not wanting to be in anyone else's space and being overwhelmed. I didn't know why. Once I open up the visuals, I can see entities, I can see their case, I can see things that they have experienced at a certain point in time in uh, their other aspects. So yeah, it's definitely focused, but like I've tried to turn it off because uh, sometimes it's just too much. I don't want to look at it
Yeah,
all the time, but yeah, it can be turned on and like you can access it easily enough.
yeah. My understanding of the your ability is that an individual has to have a very high level of confront to be able to do that, to confront that stuff. Some people, I won't mention any names, but you see one vivid image. It could be of a tiger, and it's like, just what whoa,
Heart attack.
really, it's like shut it off, And I've got the mechanism in the mind to turn that shit off, and I won't see it again for like months. So I've obviously been doing something like that my whole life because I don't see the visuals like you do. And I've talked to people, it is surprising for people that don't see it. And it has to do, we're not comfortable with it. We cannot confront it. We can't face it comfortably without an emotional reaction. Whereas you uh, can see it all. You don't close it off automatically. And you don't have, maybe you do, I don't know, but you don't have a strong emotional reaction that makes you go, whoa. Is that right? Does that seem right? That you're, one last thing I want to say about it is people that have that kind of confront, they don't feel it. They don't feel like they have a strong confront about it. It just comes natural. But my, my understanding of it is natural because they can confront it. And part of that confront has to do, I think, with the belief systems that allow that to be open instead of closed. Like people like me, I have these belief systems, obviously, that something about it that, is freaky. I don't know. But yeah.
I think like it really depends on the individual and what they've been through. Like really depends on the generation, the era, and what like even what the whole generation has to handle. Because some people who've encountered, like World War II or Vietnam War or other things, the life they lived, everything was different. Currently, in today's world, people are not encountering war the way they used to. Of course, it's happening, but like I think I and many others are very lucky where we have the massive comfort zone. We're safe. We have a lot of these benefits where like everything's handled for us. So this safety creates that freedom where you don't have to be in the survival mode, and your consciousness is like having more freedom to open up to opportunities to what's out there. And even like with the books, like shut off yourself from devices and technology and be more in nature or read some stuff, science fiction, fantasy, novels, whatever. But it's very easy to, well, people can develop this ability. It's a muscle. And I think like for me, this is what helped, like because having the freedom to go outside to play as much as I want, to read stories, to daydream, to tune into those worlds, and just spend 30 minutes to an hour or even longer in that fantasy world, and it becomes as real as possible. As real as can be, where you can encounter people, everyone's gonna have their own stories. You're not even creating it, you're not even thinking it up, but maybe, or your consciousness has already created everything in the background and you just tune into one of those realms and you're just playing a part in it. So I think like a lot of people have this going on. It's just that some have to handle the survivability, even like the finances and their problems where those small things build up, but it becomes like a focus that grounds you and your consciousness to dealing with the worldly issues rather than giving you freedom to explore.
Wow. Well said. Thank you very much. I have another question about your personal abilities and
Uh-oh.
such things.
Go
Mhm.
on.
Um, uh, I see you as very wise and knowledgeable. Okay. I mean, high end, even when you were like 15 years old.
Uh-oh.
It's like, how would, what the fuck? How, I know, right? How would you explain that? Is it like from where you came or the kind of being? What the hell? I think it's just absolutely amazing. And I highly admire it and respect it too. It's just, it's something.
I think in a way like something similar happened to what was described in the like quantum jumping.
Hmm.
Because I had this like freedom to just tune in into certain worlds. Like my consciousness just jumps into a certain reality and I get to talk with people, I get to talk with beings. And it's really more became more of a thing through the practical work. When people ask about their past lives or what they're going through, or someone is experiencing an issue and you tell them stuff and they're like, God damn, I didn't told you anything, but you're right. So like really depends on who's in my space and who I encounter. Like today, I allow myself more of that depending on how well I scan the person and give them little bits of information to see how they're gonna react and if they're able to confront it and they look like they don't have to accept and like connect with what I'm saying and believe that it's true in their reality, but I just give them little tiny bits and it's like they open up and I see that it's a thing for them. Like they relate to that. And I don't have to tell them stories about their past lives. It's just like, you've been like something happened like when you were 5 years old, and I tell them, and this is where I feel it in your body, and this is has built up. I don't have the full story. I don't know anything about the person, but they open up and like, yeah, like when I was 5, this happened, and like they tell me the thing later. So
Mm.
that became the practical ability where I didn't have to read books or watch videos or go in classes or anything. It was just like more of an intuitive thing, but through practice to where I allow myself to explore. Not being afraid that, am I making this shit up? Do I have to talk about it? Is it right or wrong or anything? Like, I'm just like, I'm curious. Why? Why is this coming
Mhm.
up? Like, why, like, learning to listen to your conscience is like probably one of the biggest things, or learning to listen to your intuition. Because some
Mhm.
people try that they will get this, like, oh, well, like, buy your bus ticket, or today you need to turn into another lane. And if you listen to those little things, that first thought and intention that disappears suddenly and you will not connect it to it at all, like later on, you listen to that and you will see that something went better. But if you don't, and later on in the day, like, God damn, I was right. I should have listened to myself because I felt it, I knew it, that thought came up, but I didn't focus on it. And people will catch
Mhm.
themselves doing that. I gave myself the freedom to listen to that. And again, it's a muscle to where I don't know why, but I am drawn to a certain thing and I feel like I need to dive deeper. And I had this freedom where I explored, not questioning myself, not going, am I imagining stuff? Am I a freak? Am I crazy or what? I just explored. I was curious. And that was
Mhm.
my thing, to where later on you say that some of the stuff I talk about, were written in books, or you yourself have
Yeah, yeah.
wrote about it, talked about it and stuff. Like, I'm not saying that I know it all. I'm just exploring tiny bits of pieces here and there, and like, okay, something connects, amazing. But like
Mhm.
again, like I think it's like all about giving ourselves the freedom to explore.
Yeah. Wow. That's amazing. That's very interesting. That works. The first time I noticed it, I'm going like, what the fuck? You were in high school and you were telling me about this history test that you had to take. And you didn't study, you didn't read the book, but you got a really good fucking grade on that. And I'm going, how the fuck? I mean, I can understand math, but history, how the fuck did she know that shit without reading about it, right? Anyway, that was my first. You remember
Yeah. I mean, like, ever since I think like
that?
eighth grade, I haven't been studying history, like reading books, but attending classes to where I can tell what happened and I can tune in and just
It's
like,
so fucking amazing.
I don't have to do homework, but I pass everything and get good grades and stuff. So that went well. Like, like made my life easier at that point. Not to say that you
Yeah.
shouldn't study, but like there are plenty of things where I didn't put in effort the way I probably should have, but I still got through in a way where information just comes and the answers, like, you start writing, like, even like very interestingly with the soul contract thing. I had a math class and I made a few videos about it as well, mentioned here and there. Like, math is not my favorite subject. I'm pretty I'm bad at it. So few classes in a row, math, like, um, first class, like, really boring, can't handle it, don't want it, like, okay, just got through it. And 5 minute break, and then second class of math starts. In that 5 minute break, I did this whole contract thing where I agree that I don't understand math, I agree that math is boring, and I just went through my beliefs and focus on math.
Mhm.
Second lesson, it becomes interesting. I start understanding stuff. Information starts flowing, and had I spent time breaking my agreements and beliefs about it and just tuned into it, second class went awesome. I got best grades ever, like in my whole like life of math. So yeah,
Um,
like that's where I think like what we focus on, our beliefs about it, our daily experiences are like forming our life, and if we can just shift the story, we can tune into the realities where we access more possibilities. So yeah, that was pretty good.
yeah, wow. That's that is amazing. Another one that uh she's really good. You can go away now. I'm talking. She's
Bye.
really good. I know. No, you're really good at fucking programming too. I mean, maybe you don't like just create your own fucking code, but you learn programming really fast. I watched you do it. I go, what the fuck? That was did that does that come natural or easy? Like, oh yeah, I can do this. Maybe you have to learn the stuff, but or was it more of a challenge to learn?
I think like programming like has just the basic structure. Like, it's a language. There are certain like rules that you have to follow that explains of what's gonna happen, but pretty much like you create everything. You have the freedom to describe of what's gonna happen if and then. So for me, like, yeah, programming and data analytics, I went into visualizing the data and like with the codes and like pretty much like you give
Mm.
me a website with different streams of information and then going into the, SQL and getting the statistics out and like putting it visually and then using the machine learning and certain like code to have an app like look for um just getting it done automatically for the recommendation system. Like, yeah, like it's pretty interesting. Not my focus, not my favorite thing. Like I can do
Yeah.
it. I don't
Yeah.
like it.
Okay.
or
Yeah.
or
Mm,
I just have things I enjoy more.
yeah. Yeah. Well, which I have a question for you. It has to do with psychic scans. Uh, I was going to say psychic dual scans, but I go, no, you work without me. She didn't need me to do this shit. Anyway, I'm going, okay. So you've learned some advanced massage techniques. Can you use, does that learning about the body and the physiology and all that stuff, does it, and also kinesiology on a deep level you've learned, does that come in handy do you, when you do a scan on somebody, like say they got energetics, there's something going on in the back of their head or their heart area? Does it really help a lot or just a little or not at all or totally?
I think like the sessions or work with me became a bit more grounding and physical to where we can't blame everything on the entities and stuff. And you can look at the photo and, the person can just be like that. And it's visually easy enough to see where their muscles are pulled and their shoulders are not on the same length and stuff. And they can mention like having headaches and migraines and how entities are attacking them and connecting to like the attacks. And you're like, okay, but if you just touch these few points and you just go and show them and they spend like 3 minutes with you, okay, how's the headache? Oh, it disappeared. Well, about identity. So, like
Yeah.
how with martial arts or yeah, people just want to learn that special technique. Like, there's this move, we're gonna use it, and you can like drop someone on the ground, and you're gonna win. Yeah, that's amazing, but martial arts have few basic things: breathing, the right stance, the right movement, and learning how to fall. And there are basics with the physical body. You learn how to breathe, you drink plenty of water, you take care of your physical system because, hormones, the whole chemistry of the body, if it's out of balance, you can have tons of spiritual issues, but if you don't fix yourself physically, everything else is going to repeat because you're just a magnet for it all. You're attracting it. And then you might misidentify or assume stuff and kind of blame things when you could be in control and fix everything yourself. So I think like a lot of sessions with me, because of my recent knowledge, not that I show everyone like, oh, you should do this and that. Like sometimes it's very visual. So you can easily tell, like, well, if you just like do these few moves and you can fix it, the physical pain disappears to remind them to do physical stuff. When we take care of the basics, we can go into the spiritual stuff of or metaphysics if they have any entities, if they have past life issues, if there are any traumas and emotional things. But it's very closely related. I've had quite a few sessions recently in a row where people have the psychosomatics, intense psychosomatics. And even in the massage sessions when I work with people physically and you're working and like there was this girl who was like, well, every time I work out, whenever I move my muscles like this, there's this massive pain here and my whole body just like kind of falls apart. I can't do anything anymore. Well, you're exploring here your chest muscles and there was this little trigger point like in the deeper tissue and you go there, you move muscle with like certain movements she does when the pain appears, you feel the trigger point, you squeeze it out, disappears. The girl burst into tears, and so many emotions were let out. And everything she was
Wow.
holding in, that inner pain, that being like accountable for someone else, being responsible for
Hmm.
other people, being the mom, being the dad, like the parental figure
Hmm.
to other siblings and stuff. And it just all let go. And she was just bursting in tears and like you gave her
Oh,
pretty much like 30 minutes of free space to just cry, be by herself, deal with everything. She came out a whole different person. A whole different person. The
wow.
beingness, the stress and everything else that was in there. So any kind of session you do with people, like physical body is like a computer, it's programmed. Like water has memory because we're made of water, because the physical body is made of water. Like, that alone. But then the cells, they have memories. So things gather up, like the emotions are building up. We think like, okay, we feel something and disappears, but it's actually somewhere inserted in the cells. And if we learn how to get it out of our systems, connect the emotions with the physical body space, push some like places like massage it, or like, just like caress it, and there you go. The anger, the resentment, the fear is like, well, not all of it, but certain triggers, whatever has built up on certain subject and into a certain organ or your muscles. If you can release that, the changes are just amazing. So like I'm just super passionate about the topic.
Yeah, yeah. You're amazing, and your skill sets are so fast. She learned this. You can go again. She learned these advanced Miejo.
You may
Is
hope.
that yeah? What she said. Real
Gatsu.
advanced.
The
Yeah, real advanced techniques. She learned really fast. It just blew her instructor away how fast she learned. She's a natural. You're just it's it's one of your callings, obviously, and you're incredibly good at it, and so fast, so quickly you were able to do that. I'm just I just am blown away with that skill set.
I
Well
think
done.
like for a lot of people, depending what we have experience with the other aspects, it's not necessarily learning as much as remembering it. Uh, Connect to another part of you that's doing that thing, and you can download those abilities or the knowledge. So it feels like natural, it feels like it's you, but you've already lived through everything. And even when I'm doing massages, I have to remind myself, like, like, okay, let go of what you know physically. Uh, Close your eyes, like I'm doing. I love doing the blind massage.
Oh,
Just tie
okay.
up your eyes. You don't see anything. You just feel. You just go through the body. You work. But that's where you try to disconnect from what's in the books and the general knowledge given, and you just allow your hands and your energy to feel. And this is where you start mixing physical work with the energy work. And boy, oh boy, the person's laying on
Wow.
their stomach, you put your hands on their hips, you hold it in one place, it's like touching the skin but moving your finger in one place. So it's not going anywhere, but you insert it and move it. So it's the same as
Mhm.
like touching the hips and just like one place, you vibrate it for 10, 15, 30 seconds, and you just hold it. And the whole energy from your hands spreads through the whole body, and it's burning. And people are like, what the fuck are you doing? And like they get up from the table, they jump up. You're not doing anything, you're just like touching one place. But
Oh,
like they feel like, look, oh, ants are like walking, like crawling through my skin or something. Like, so there are different changes, but like psychosomatics, like our
mhm.
body holds information in certain spots, and at the same time, we ourselves, like if you disconnect from what you know and you connect to everything, to your consciousness, to what you've experienced in the past, and just allow it to transfer through you, boy, like I love it.
Wow.
It's
Okay.
like amazing.
Oh man. So it's a your own. I probably doesn't need a name or a label, but you're doing this really profound energy work with this person, right? It's just coming through you somehow.
Yeah. I think like it also really depends on people who are able to accept it, because like you can give information to, or energy to people, but some are closed up, and like they're protecting themselves and they're not allowing anything in. So it's kind of like just like going straight into the wall. Like you can give it, but you can definitely feel like the person is not receiving it. Because if
Mhm.
the person accepts it, it's like it's being sucked out of you, but in a good way, where they're not siphoning you, but they're allowing it to connect, and it's a full circle to where you give and you get. Uh,
Mhm.
so really like depends on people uh who are able to tune in. Uh, but yeah, it's just amazing.
Yeah. Wow. That's incredible. Well done. Oh, mm, next question. Uh, Actually, I had some commentary on it too, but we kind of already answered it. It has to do with they have a psychosomatic thing, headache, shoulder tense, sharp pain in the wherever, uh, and it can be physiological stuff that you can relieve through the work you do physically, but because it does hurt in a certain way. Let's say it's a sharp pain in the, back here somewhere. That frequency can be a frequency match to an entity phenomena that can totally, and it's like a magnet. The entity will attach. Okay. So when people come to you or come to us in a dual scan, they might have the sharp pain that they're very familiar with, but while we can release it doing entity release kind of work. We could release it pretty good, and they'll feel a little better because the entity can intensify the issue and not let it relax on its own. But so they'll feel some relief, but it can. But the trigger points or the tightness in the body or whatever's going on with the energetics of the body itself haven't been addressed. So this perpetuates, and then it can attract the same or another entity similar. Is that your understanding of it?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Next. No, I'm teasing. No, please. I want to hear more.
I would add, like, the work we do, like, if I'm not physically there to fix people, but like, through the distance, connecting to what they're experiencing, it, some people, like I said, are closed up. So whether I try to become a blank slate and tune into them, look from their perspective, look from their experiences and like their aspects, sometimes it's really hard to access it and give them something. With others, they're open to it. With others, they're able to accept they have done their work and they're craving for information, they're craving for a solution. So it's not that I have to tell them the story, but they feel the instant connection to where some people, and like, it's Kim, it's your friend Dana, I think we did a few sessions, a few others, where they can close their eyes, they can visualize their own private space and just have this freedom to focus. And I can tune in and enter their space, consciousness shift, and they feel me. They feel my presence. They feel if I put my hand on their shoulder. They feel if I give them a hug. They feel the warmth or the love and other things. So entity issues or things that might be causing physical pain or affecting their body, if I can tune in and just, if they're able to accept me, if they're able to feel what I'm giving, the whole massage I can do on the physical body, I can do it there. And they can feel it.
Fuck yeah.
Then again.
I know. Choke on that, bitch.
It's all about, can they accept it? Are they aware enough to allow it and accept it and feel it? Because a lot of people want it. They're like, pull me out of body. And I'm like, I did, but you're closed up. You don't have visuals, don't have memory. Like, you were there, you were doing stuff. You come back and you have this thing where it's too much, I don't want to confront it. It's too traumatic, too much to handle. So same thing, like some people, like even Patty, like a lover, closes her eyes, can't feel me coming into her space, doing all this stuff. Can't come into my space, and I will tune in to reality she's connected to, and we can do stuff, we can explore. And it's just amazing. But like, some people have done their work and they have this ability to connect and allow. Others, while they might want it, it's too much. They have too many things going on in the background and they might not accept it. So, it's a 50-50 thing.